with modern times, he criticized capitalism without a conscience. And that's what we have now. We have capitalism without a conscience. He showed the common man being fed through gears of the brutal, dehumanizing industrial age. He took on the American right wing of his day, its worst evils: hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed.
Jim Carrey doesn't simply enter Trump's orbit. He cartwheels into it, leaving fingerprints on the gold trim and graffiti on the gilded portraits. He doesn't parody Trump like a late-night comic. He anatomizes him like a warped mirror artisan locked inside a carnival. Think of it this way. If chaos had a theme song and narcissism had a mascot, you'd swear you'd seen it before. Carrey doesn't scorch Trump with anger. He burns him with brutal honesty, holding up a mirror so twisted it somehow looks like the truth.
President who started out when the country was together and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb, destroying every institution.
Let's talk about this Donald Trump, even though we don't want to. Let's bring it on the panel.
Yeah. He's a car salesman. He's a used car salesman.
Absolutely.
And he's, he didn't make America great again, but he did turn back.
It begins with a performance, one for the ages. A president treating the Oval Office like an open mic night. Press briefings morph into episodes of Who Said That? And tweets become editions for Delusion Idol. Carrey's voice oozes disbelief as he narrates the journey of a man who confuses retweets with reverence and cheers with redemption. Politics becomes improv with no script, no direction, only ego. Somewhere in the swirl of executive orders and applause lines, governance mutates into a sitcom starring a lead who rewrites the plot to flatter himself.
Almost half of America at this moment believes there is a sinister deep state diabolically plotting to what? Give them health care? We in America are misinformed. Reality shows have warped our idea of what a hero is, or what the truth is. So tonight, I'd like to dedicate this award to those who remind us of our virtues, who remind us of the truth.
Carrey turns the lunacy into slapstick. He paints Trump pacing like a lost actor clinging to a role he never studied. He storms, he rants, performs faux outrage as if it were national duty. The crowd can't decide whether to laugh or duck. Carrey mimics the wild gestures, the finger pointing, the dismissive flailing, the swagger of someone allergic to humility. His version of Trump's leadership is a magic trick gone wrong. The rabbit refuses to leave the hat, certain it's too important to disappear.
We're parentless, we are babysat by the television. We're taught how to think by the television. That's the dangerous thing about what's going on right now. There are generations growing up right now who are learning to lie. That lying is okay. That this
kids say fake news.
That you're supposed to hate half the country. You know? And if anything, we've got to get back to a place where we realize that a vote is not who you are. And because you voted Republican, you're not stupid, you're not different, you're not worthless. I could break bread with anybody.
The comedy stings because it's saturated in truth. Trump's presidency, Carrey suggests, was less about policy and more about performance. Each scandal another season premiere, every controversy, a marketing campaign. This isn't The Apprentice, Carrey jokes. It's The Appointed. But no one remembers the interview. Power's red, white, and blue walls are now coated in slogans, vanity, and Sharpie edits. It's not leadership, it's product placement.
Carrey takes on Donald Trump.
This whole thing has brought back my 8-year-old self. It's been a gift from God. It's literally brought me back to 8 years old, where I used to sit in my room. Trump is toast. Yeah, man.
And so you just kind of digest the news of this.
It's an affirmation.
Robert
Mueller putting the squeeze on the president. Just to relieve the stress. You know what I mean?
Carrey dives into Trump's greatest illusion, the myth of success built from carefully repackaged failure. With cartoonish precision, Carrey impersonates the bravado, showing that what feels exaggerated is actually just reality at volume 11. The man who once hawked stakes now sells certainty, and the market keeps responding. Carrey calls out the ultimate irony. A man who spent his life crafting the image of a winner is, at his core, addicted to losing louder. To him, every criticism is an attack, every setback a sabotage, every truth an insult with bad manners.
Griffin just got herself in a hell of a lot of trouble. And should people forgive her?
I see that everybody's a hypocrite because everybody's imagined themselves standing there with his head. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe at least half the country. You know, we're in a tough spot. It's a very, very divided world, and those on I guess you'd call it the left side. I just call it the sensible side. Is, you know, we're sitting there watching this nonsense happen, and people like Sean Spicer come out and talk about it like we're kindergartners, you know, and covering for this president is like putting makeup on a melanoma.
The satire tightens. Carrey turns his eye to Trump's rallies, carnivals of emotion where logic takes a back seat and blind loyalty is served with extra sugar. He frames them as off-Broadway revivals for nostalgic politics, repeating the same script to an audience that applauds familiarity over facts. Trump isn't governing, he's headlining. The applause isn't response, it's currency. Carrey's act becomes commentary, revealing the machine underneath, a political franchise running on outrage and branding. Each new scandal is a spin-off in the Trump cinematic universe. The plot never ends, only recycles. Villains rotate, slogans remain, and the audience, half shocked, half addicted, keeps watching. This isn't leadership, it's the longest-running improv show with no intermission, and the nation plays the unpaid extras. The laughs aren't joy, they're survival.
This administration is a rabid dog, and it's turning us upside down. And all, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's as obvious as the nose on your face. You know, but people have made these elections and politics in general who they are, and it's not who you are. You can make a bad decision about a candidate. It's not who you are. It doesn't mean you're...
Carrey pivots to Trump's obsession with image, the insecurity wrapped in ego. He mimics the endless self-congratulation, the fixation on crowd sizes, the compulsive need to be the biggest, the best, the adored. What emerges is less a leader than a man gripped by stage fright, fueled by applause. Carrey spares no one. The enablers, the sycophants, the PR magicians, all portrayed as side characters in a political farce. They hover around him like moons around a dying star, mistaking gravitational pull for influence. In one imagined scene, Trump barters with reality, convinced that facts are accessories and truth is negotiable, like buying beliefs in bulk at a clearance sale.
There was a tape of him talking to Bob Woodward, right? We heard that this week. At the end of it, he gets a little frustrated and he says, well, accurate is that nobody's ever done a better job than I'm doing as president. He says, how can you...
Job of what? Job of what? Demolition Man?
Right.
There's none left! That lawn is clean!
The artist in Carrey sees the bigger tragedy. A democracy consumed by its own theatrics. Outrage competes with ratings, and policy is judged by crowd reaction. Carrey draws a nation staring blankly at its own reruns, too tired to change the channel. Trump didn't build the circus. He just figured out how to sell tickets. Then comes Carrey's mimicry of victimhood, Trump as the eternal underdog of his own mythology. It's Shakespeare rewritten by a game show host. A tragedy without gravitas. A winner who keeps losing, just louder. The slogans blur, the message thins, and what once dazzled now feels empty. Carrey's laughter here is subdued, not comedy, but fatigue. The tragedy isn't that Trump fooled America. It's that he entertained it.
You're different. I can break bread with anybody in this country. I love people in this country. I love the heartland of this country. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, it's become obvious that the choice was a bad one. We just need to change it. And if you can't vote for a Democrat, at least let all this flood of information that's so negative and so obvious keep you home.
Carrey imagines the White House not as a seat of power, but a production set. Everything, the props, the lines, the cast, exists to serve one man's spotlight. Every policy has a PR angle. Every decision is a teaser for the next episode. The press briefings aren't news, they're reruns. And in this loop, the distinction between show and state vanished. Carrey's manic energy gives way to melancholy. Institutions weakened. Norms splintered. Lies went mainstream. All for the sake of charisma mistaken for competence. But he ends with a flicker of hope, that comedy can still crack illusions. That laughter can still reveal. His act isn't about cruelty, it's clarity. A reminder that satire, when honest, reflects not just the subject, but the society that watched in silence.
Right, and he was worth 5.
Right.
So that's the ratio of truth to bullshit. And with Trump, basically anything he says is like, it's 20 to 1. Okay? It's 20 to 1, man.
But when you have the disorder, like when like I was saying before, his personal cabinet now has turned on him. Mm-hmm. The person with this disorder is never going to go, maybe it's me.
No, of course not.
Never.
You want to see something interesting. Everybody is saying, well, not everybody's saying. I sound like Trump now. Everybody's saying. Everybody's saying.
He envisions the finale. No dramatic collapse, just a dimming. The stage lights flicker. The illusion dissolves. The clapping fades into uncertainty. The audience leaves, not cheering but unsure whether they've been entertained or deceived. And Trump remains, center stage, still performing. Still smiling at cameras that aren't there. Still adjusting his tie in imaginary mirrors. The crowd is gone, but he doesn't notice. He gestures to ghosts, hearing applause only in memory. Carrey lets that moment settle. He doesn't mock the desperation. He paints it. The quiet is louder than the cheers ever were. Because without an audience, the act has no power. And yet, the character keeps going, mistaking silence for approval. It's surreal. It's funny, and it's devastating.
And here we have...
That's Space Force.
That's the Space Force, yeah.
That's the beginning of Space Force. Right. This, I can do anything with it. Working? Not working.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Carrey lingers there. The silence thickens. The illusions flake away. The symbols lose their shine. Slogans sag and the costume no longer fits the man. Still, he insists the show's a hit. That the crowd is loyal. That the critics don't matter. Carrey lets the fantasy unravel slowly, like fog in morning light. The stage collapses under its own excess, but the actor refuses to see the wreckage. Then comes a new kind of silence. Not peace, but reckoning. It reflects everything. The absurdity, the manipulation, the spectacle. One inescapable truth rises. All performances end. No matter the star, no matter the hype, the curtain falls. The performer can delay, distract, even deny it. But the show always ends. And when it does, the only thing left is what was real beneath the glitter.
Mushroom cloud, ignore Trump for a week.
Wow.
I had a girlfriend one time, a long time ago, and we were having problems. I went to therapy, and the therapist said, "Sounds like your girlfriend's a little bit borderline personality, and she's a narcissist and whatever." And I said, "Well, maybe if I just find a different way to intellectualize or get used to what she's saying, and I could, my comebacks would be different, and I could just accept the fact she's going to be a dick every once in a while, and whatever." And she said, "Please do. Please try for a week to ignore and not react to these buttons that are being pushed."
Carrey's satire ends not in laughter, but release. The joke is over, and it never really was one. What felt like comedy turns out to be caution. The final act is a hush, heavy with recognition. The applause, now just an echo in memory. As it fades, so does the illusion of control. Carrey zooms out, past the show, into the quiet where reflection begins. What remains isn't parody, it's a historical artifact. A memory we laugh at uneasily, wondering why it was ever funny. America wakes up from its own performance, not triumphant, but aching. The laughter once used as armor now peels away, replaced with questions. With shame. With truth. Carrey's finale isn't mockery. It's mourning. Not for the performer, but for the stage. For the damage done. For the truth, once twisted, now quietly returning. The The silence at the end isn't emptiness, it's reckoning. It's the realization we laughed too long at something that was never a joke. And now, there's only one thing left to do: listen.